You were talking about the blackberries and the fruit trees next door, the Moors.
Yeah.
And they lived there how many years?
Oh, I think they came here about 1901, I think. Then they lived here. She passed away, and that was in about 17 or 18.
Was that the time of the Spanish flu?
No, I think she just, she was old. He had to go over and his son married a woman, Miss Cavanaugh, over in Cantinas. And he went over there to live with them.
How about the house at the other corner that burned down a few years ago?
Over here?
Mm-hmm. Who lived there?
Ray Harris.
Another Harris.
Ray Harris, he lived there, and he built that the year after we built ours, this home, in 1918. He built that in 1919. And the same man built this and built that one. And that's where Ray Harris raised his family.
You talked about the Pinkerton School. Do you remember any of the teachers who were there?
I can remember one, Miss Peach. Everybody liked her. Everybody liked her. She was a wonderful person. She married a man in this country, Walter Saylor. She married him. She lived here. I don't know how long it was after they was married, but he got sick and got pneumonia, and he passed away.
Did you go to the Pinkerton School?
Yes. I went 4 years when we lived at Plato. I went 4 years then, and then I went another 2 years after we came back up here.
Do you remember any other students who were there? Any of the other kids?
Oh, there was Ray Sturgeon and Charlotte Sturgeon and this Frank Robertson is up here with Velma now. Mm-hmm. He was there. And there was about 4 or 5 Laguna children that were Spanish.
Where did they live?
They lived right over. Oh, when you go out this road and you make that turn, you remember seeing trees along the road there where after you pass where Smith goes in. You know where Smith goes in?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you pass that and go on, and they were raised up just around. There's a field there. And there's trees out there. They're not oak trees, they're some other kind of a tree. That's where they lived. And Frank, he lived in this side of there, Frank Robertson. There's locust trees, and they're there, they bloom there. You see them.
The Laguna family, what did they do? Did they farm, or were they?
They farmed, yeah. And they farmed, some of them milked cows. Mr. Robertson, he had quite a bit of alfalfa there.
Do you remember any of the other students at the Pinkerton School?
Well, I remember Cecil D. Tracy. Cecil D. Tracy. He lived quite a ways from school, and he had to ride a burro to school.
Burro?
A burro, yeah. It was about as much work to get the burro to go as it was to get off and walk. But that's what he done.
You went to other schools too?
Me?
Yes.
I started at Bird Haven out this way.
Bird Haven?
Bird Haven.
Out Bryson Asperia Road?
No.
Or out Interlake?
Out Interlake Road. You know where that sign is up there, that land for sale?
Kind of near the bots or further
Yeah.
out? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, the school is right over, a little further over there. And Mr. Corner, he gives the land for the school.
Mr. Corner.
Yeah, Ellick Corner.
Did he have a big ranch out there? Or?
Well, he had, I always thought it was about 370 acres.
In grain?
Yeah, he had grain and cattle.
The Bird Haven School. Do you remember any of the teachers?
No, I can't.
How about any of the students? People you went to school with?
Oh, I went to school with, oh gosh. Eva Corner, she lived there. The other Corner girl was graduating. And there was a Harris girl, but I can't think of her first name. She came from the top of the hill up there, down to this school. And there was Bill Everett and Charlie Everett and Mary Everett.
Where did the Everetts live?
They lived down here where Jody lives.
The bots.
Yeah.
Down where the bots are now. They had grain too?
Yeah, they raised grain. They raised grain. You always have had cattle too.
Did they set up a ranch a long time ago? Before you were here?
You mean Everett?
Mm-hmm.
No, I can remember when he came here, he lived over the hill here for a while. He had a whole ranch there. And then he finally bought that other land down there and moved down there. But he still kept this ranch here too.
So was that pretty much it for all the kids who went to school with you? Were there any other children that you went to school with?
Oh, there was a Spanish family, but I can't remember. The Nunes, I think. Salazar.
Where did they live?
They lived down on Harris Creek, down that way from the school. Harris Creek went right past the school.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes right through that botch land, and where you cross the bridge over there to Gwinter Lake,
Mm-hmm.
that's Harris Creek. That goes on down into the lake.
Did they live there long?
The Corners? You mean the Corners?
No, the Nuneses and
Huh?
the two families, the two Spanish families.
Oh yeah, they lived over on that creek, that Harris Creek, for years. Yeah. There was 5 or 6 children come there out of them families.
What kind of work did they do?
Well, they worked out. They worked at the Pinkerton Ranch. Mr. Lynch, he always had hired hands too, you know. He had a pretty big ranch.
Can you remember any of the other schools in the area? You went to Bird Haven and Pinkerton. What other schools were around here?
I went to Hesperia School.
You went
I
to
went to
the
Hesperia School, yeah.
also.
I finished up there.
Now, exactly where is that located? Or was it located?
Right where Jody lived. Not Jody, but Jerry Shepherd.
Up near the hall,
Yeah.
near the Hesperia Hall.
The The school was right down close to where the road is. Because the road at that time went on the other side of the school. We'd come around by the hall and went and stay down that side of the canyon.
Mm-hmm.
Clear down to where the camp is up here.
And when did you go there? How old were you when you went to the Hesperia school?
Oh, I finished up there in 1913. Then I went to Parlet 2 years. Polytechnic, San Luis Obispo.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Studied agriculture, or?
No, I took mechanics. But I made a mistake. I should have taken agriculture.
You took mechanics, so you...
Yeah. I never was a mechanic. I could go in the blacksmith shop and make what I wanted, but I never could put an engine together.
So you went there 2 years. Did you live down there then?
No, I went down and stayed down there. I had a cousin down there I could stay with.
A Parlet, or?
No. His name was Lee. So, isn't that awful?
Oh, you have a very good memory.
Keeney. Lee Keeney and his wife. She was a Betts. She was in relation to my mother. My mother was a Betts, you see. I went to 2 years, but that done me a world of good, them 2 years.
It did you a world of good.
Yeah.
In what way?
Well, you get out and you meet people, and you get so you can talk before people and one thing and another like that. They elected me president of the freshman class the first year, but I couldn't take it because I couldn't get up before people and talk. I just felt I couldn't do it. But it done me a world of good because I learned how to get around too and do things, you know.
Later you were involved with the Farm Bureau. Did that help you later on?
Oh yeah, I joined the Farm Bureau, I think in about 23. I think we had the Farm Bureau about that time. Well, I was elected head of this Farm Bureau up here, you know, too. I run that about 8 years. Then we had a Scratch school there, but it was up by the hall at that time.
The Hesperia school.
Yeah.
Who did you go to school with at the Hesperia school?
Well, I went with the small children and Wills coming back that way. Wills, yeah. And
Where did they have a ranch?
when I owned it back there now, that little piece I own, it's back by the head side of where Adam lives. I got 120 acres there.
And the Wills family lived there.
Yeah.
Did they live there a long time?
Yes. When they went there was a man by the name of Mr. Cole, and he passed away. I don't remember him. But, then a man by the name of Wills, he married Mrs. Cole, and they lived there. And that's when I knew him then. But she had 2 children from Cole, a girl and a boy. And I think she had 3 children from Mr. Wills.
And what did he do?
Well, He farmed a little and he worked out the most of the time.
Worked out
Yeah.
with other grain farmers and,
Oh, yeah, farming, and he had this road work here
oh,
for a long time.
were there other people who went to the Hesperia school?
Well, it was Forbes lived up here. John Ford lived up. He had a daughter, Violet Ford. Then on top of the hill up here, as you go out, there was another Doherty lived there, family. And that girl, she went to Birdhaven, and then she went to.
Now the Dohertys, what did they do?
Well, he had a ranch, and he was on a ranch, had chickens and farmed a little. Take a job outside once in a while to catch up.
How about the Fords?
Well, Mr. Ford down here, I never seen him farm very much. He didn't farm, but he had a bunch of sheep, and he kept them on that ranch. I don't know how he made his living. If maybe he had money. I don't know, but he never. I think he must have had money because he lived there. He belonged to the church too.
There were a lot of people who lived out here then.
Oh yeah, Mr. Alley Corner, he had a family, you know. And there was another one that joined him over there, joined. That was Charlie Corner. He had born a girl. Of course, they went to Birdhaven School.
Why did a lot of people left? Why did they leave?
Well, they said they couldn't make a living here. He called this country old starve me to death.
Old starve me to death?
Yeah. Yeah.
So people had a rough time.
Well, they had a rough time, yeah. They raised a lot of the stuff that they used, they raised it. I sit down to my table here when everything on the table was raised here but the sugar. Yeah, I always had cows. We had all the milk we wanted. We had all the butter we wanted. We used everything we wanted like that. I had all different kinds of chickens and turkeys, and we could kill chickens anytime we wanted. If we heard that somebody was coming, we didn't have enough, we would go kill some chickens and cook them up, you know. Of course, I always raised my own hogs, and I made my own hams and bacon, and I always had hams and bacon. I was 20 years old before I ever ate a piece of butter and bacon.
What did you think of it?
I didn't care for it.
So you made it because you had so many different kinds of animals and
Yeah.
so on?
Yeah, I made that. But it was good bacon and good hams too, you know. It was good.
I'm sure it was. Do you think you've stayed here where other people have moved away because you had so many animals and so much going on?
Well, I could do better here than I could do other places. I tried it a couple of times.
So you moved away from here for short periods of time?
Yeah, my wife, she kept after me that I was going to never would get no place here. I had to get out and get to work for wages. Well, I finally built a house in San Luis Obispo. And we went down there to live. And here I was taking in $10 a day every day in the year. We had all this other things that we had to raise to eat too. And I went down there, I got a job. $25 a week. That's $100 in 4 weeks. And then the Depression come on, and I didn't have no job, so I was broke. Like I had come by, I had this ranch to come back to, and I had my house I could sell. So I had to sell that to live, because there was no jobs, no jobs any place at that time. Then I went to work for Irvin Bray in about 44.
Bray?
Irvin Bray, he's a cattleman. I worked 2 years for him in King City, and I never got no place there. But I could always do better right here than I could other places.
Can you tell me something about your children? How many you had? And
Well, I raised them two children that my wife had. When I married her, you know, I raised them 2 boys, and then we had 2 boys.
and their names were?
And first one was, he was Bill Jr., named after me. And Robert, he come along 5 years later. But now I've only got 2 of them gone, and the other 2 are sick.
So there's Bill and Robert, and then the other 2 were
Claude and Francis Watson.
Watson. And did they marry people? Local women?
No,
They all moved away.
yeah. Claude, he married a school teacher, and she was just as bright as anybody ever was. But she was an awful nice person. But he never could make a woman, make a living for a person, because he liked the saloon too well, you know. He'd get paid, he'd go to the saloon, and when he got home, he didn't have much money left. It's too bad, because he had a wonderful woman. But they separated. Then before the war, he married another woman, and then all 4 boys went to the war. 2 in the Pacific and 2 in the Atlantic. And they went to Sioux, and all got home.
Can you tell me a little bit about your orchard out here?
Well, I planted an orchard, and then I lost quite a few of the trees. And then,
Who'd you lose them to?
well, gophers and deer, and one thing and another. Then I kept planting trees all the time. I plant trees every year. I didn't get any planted this year because I was too late with that fence.
So you replace trees over time.
I replaced them, yeah. But it's kind of hard to raise trees right here, because on the kind of where I sit here, and it's kind of frost. You see, you have frost. I've gone 2 years without fruit. 2 years at a time. See?
How do you get water?
We drilled a well.
You drilled it or you dug
No,
it?
I have to have it drilled if somebody's got the machine to drill it with.
But when you first had a well out here, how'd you do it?
Well, the well when I came here was a dug well. They dug it by hand. And it was only about 16, 18 feet deep. But we had all the water we could use at that time. But those years back there, most of them were good years. Get plenty of water.
So you had wetter years in the old days.
Yeah.
So you had to drill another one.
I drilled one here because with the water down in the other well there, I couldn't use it in the house.
Because?
Yeah, the stuff that was in it, iron and so there was about 4, 5, 6 different things in that water.
Minerals.
Minerals. I was talking about drilling a well here, and I asked my son, I said, should I get Velma to witch it? Oh, he said no, because there's water all around under here. But Velma, she couldn't stand it. She came down, and she had her witching stem with her, you know. And when she stepped out of the wagon, car out there in the yard, it started to work. And she says, you got water right here. Right there, see? So then I got interested in that, and I had her test it, and there was the things that was in that water out there, about 200 feet away, wasn't in this water here. That well was 100 feet deep, and this well here was 120. But I struck water out there at 17 feet, see? And there was lots of sand in that well out there.
The hand-dug one.
No, I never drilled it. I had to drill that one.
Mm.
The hand-dug one, it was dug in the 1800s. There was somebody on this ranch before my grandfather come in there. Somebody had a house here.
So your grandfather got the ranch from someone else who was
Yeah.
out here.
Yeah, but the other fellow had never proved up on it.
Proved up on it.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Well,
The
you
homestead.
got to live on this land. When you take up a homestead, you got to live there 7 months out of the year for 3 years. And then you can go and they call it prove up. You put it in your name, see? And then it's yours. And that's what he done. He lived here and proved up on it. So he got the land.
Your grandfather.
Yeah.
Was almost everybody else around here a homesteader who proved up?
Oh, most of these people, yes. Yeah. Nearly all of them, they had a homestead.
Most of them homesteaded when?
Well, I think they started, I don't know what year they're coming in, but I knew people that come here in 60, 1860.
Some of the first were then.
Hmm?
Some of the first people were
Yeah,
then.
yeah.
You have a beautiful barn here. Can you tell me about it? When you built it?
Well, the old barn got so old I couldn't patch it up anymore, so I had to build a new one. And I built that in 1930. The Depression wasn't over yet, but I had to have a barn because I was farming with horses. So I got a carpenter to help me, a man by the name of Mr. Mincy, and him and I built the barn. I fixed it one side where I could milk cows, and I fixed the other shed for putting my horses.
You have chicken barns too out there.
Oh, I had chicken houses out here, you see.
Mm-hmm. How many did you have?
Oh, we had 600 chickens at one time, 600 hens. But I always had, I shipped eggs for quite a while. But I always had chickens. I always had chickens, and I had some ducks, and I had guineas, and I had a lot of bantams.
And the grain farming.
Hmm?
And the grain.
The grain?
You always had the grain.
Yeah, I always had, I farmed, I had wheat.